Hi, today we're going to talk a little bit about rehearsing. Let's think back. Successful people of all kinds rehearse before they do things. Political candidates rehearse for speeches and debates. Actors rehearse lines. Teachers rehearse lessons. Dancers and athletes run through their moves hundreds of times until they can perform them perfectly. Rehearsal allows successful people of all kinds to practice until perfection, but it also allows them to identify places where they need improvement or need to adapt. Writers rehearse too. We can't expect ourselves to write a great piece that we haven't explored and thought through. We need to practice it, think it through, maybe even talk it through, or write it through a few different ways until we find the way that works best. Then once we've decided on the best way for a piece to go, we are off. We're ready to write a rough draft of our piece. Rehearsal is the process of going back to your brief entries and working through them. Think of it like a revision that comes at the start of the unit and not at the end. You want to take a look at what you're writing, go over it in your mind, and think of possible ways you might want to change it before you actually start writing. Good writers rehearse their writing as they prepare to write a draft. This could be done orally, but it's probably better done on paper. Rehearsal gets good writers mentally organized and prepared to write. One way to rehearse is to make a plan for writing that includes a sequence of events, a beginning, a middle, and an end, and how people felt during those events. We can call this a double retell. Pick something that I've been writing that I want to turn into a draft. Hold the whole piece in my mind, the whole story, as I talk through it event by event, writing out a timeline of events. So actually write out a timeline. And then talk through it event by event again, also talking about the emotions my characters feel, details about the setting, or details about the characters, possibly making another timeline. Also, thinking about organizing the events in another way. So really like matching up those details of emotions and setting and any other details about a character along with each of those events. Use that plan to go back to the piece and write the draft. Or you could take a timeline of the events and then zoom in on only a few dots of that timeline and tell it over. Make it more specific, just that one moment. Take one essential scene from within that event and tell it in several ways, forwarding a different meaning each time. Don't just expect yourself to improvise a rough draft. Before you write, rehearse the piece. Get ready and be prepared before you start writing. Write out, sketch out what you're going to write about.